Hello, everybody. Welcome to AC Security. Today we have a new topic and we're going to talk about the AI shell. My name is Dinan Paardenkoper. I'm a cloud architect at IT Impressive, and today I have Steven Bucher of Microsoft. Steven, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'm Steven Bucher. I am a product manager at Microsoft. I work on a variety of things, including PowerShell, SSH for Windows, Azure PowerShell, Azure CLI, and some of our IT operations space. And of course, how we can fit AI into all those to help you accelerate your life a lot easier.
Of course. AI is everywhere, right?
It's definitely a growing space, and there's no need to introduce that to people. People know what's going on in that space. It's quite rapid and it's quite accelerated, and it's quite exciting the potential that it could have.
Definitely. Before we jump in, how long do you work with Microsoft already?
Yeah, so I've been at Microsoft about 4 years. Predominantly, I've been on the PowerShell team, working on various research projects, focused on the interactive experiences, data-driven collection with it, and then lately I've been transitioning towards more of a higher level a position around kind of AI within PowerShell, within the CLI, within the DevOps space in general. I'm focusing on a lot of other projects right now, but by and large, yeah, my there's a lot of things under my umbrella, I guess. But overall, I really love the kind of impact that AI and can make in the DevOps space, whether it be utilizing PowerShell or utilizing other key DevOps tools for customers.
Yeah, definitely. And for today, we're going to talk about the AI shell. For people that just joined in or never heard from it yet, can you explain what it is? What's the secret?
Yeah, so the AI shell is a tool that we shipped about a year ago now. It's still in private preview. It's really kind of an experimental tool that we wanted to bring out to the community to see how we can provide AI assistance directly in your CLI with uh, help and the intelligence of these AI assistants to help you accelerate your workflow using the CLI itself. It's something that's it's early and it's very experimental, and so the direction of it is very unknown at the time. But it's a fun project to at least try out and utilize a bit to at least get some better assistance when using PowerShell and the CLI itself. It can be very daunting to use the command line interface or any sort of prompt there. It's just kind of a black box where you have to know the right commands to enter. You got to know how to write them properly, use the right parameters, use the right things, and be careful that you don't accidentally take out your entire infrastructure with a single command because it's possible. It can be very scary, and so we really designed this in a way to help bring confidence for you in the CLI. We don't do anything on your behalf, and so we're trying to work with you as you kind of utilize the CLI and get more comfortable with automation in general. Because starting with in order to get your tasks automated, you got to start small with the CLI, a couple of scripts, couple of commandlets, and then build up to these greater scripts and these greater forms of automation to help relieve the workload that I know a lot of folks in DevOps face. And so that's really the design and the story we were focused on with this project, and I've learned a lot with it, and hope folks find it useful and can help with that story. But overall, that's kind of the general direction of the work I'm trying to do is help grow automation, help uh, ease the automation for you to be able to help folks in operation achieve more and help give confidence in automation and the CLI and the general space itself.
If I'm looking from use case perspective, is automation just one of them, or are there specific other use cases you are investigating or focusing on?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we think about automation primarily from the Azure lens of things to be able to automate certain tasks you want to do in Azure, certain deployments you want to do with more, imperative code if you want to kind of help fix these problems, or even from the general server management perspective, using PowerShell for any of those kind of tasks is important. The I think it also is a great use case for just kind of one-off things where, I'm coming from Linux and I don't really know the right commandlets and stuff to use. I can use it to help uh, get some assistance that way. If you forget the right commands or you just need a little bit of help formulating a function in your CLI, if you like working in the CLI more than you like working in VS Code or some kind of editor, it could be a great use case for you that way. Those are kind of some of the use cases that we're thinking of. We really designed it in a way to think of it like a coworker kind of over your shoulder trying to help you out with the scripts and stuff. So bringing those AI assistants directly to your CLI is something that yeah, we're trying to do.
All right, cool, awesome. Looking forward what will come in the future. But you also have written a blog around MCP, right?
Yeah, so MCP is the Model Context Protocol, and it's a very powerful tool. It's come out a long time ago, but essentially it's creating a standard protocol for giving AI assistance tools that it can use to get more relevant data or take more actionable tasks. And um, we introduced support for AI Shell as an MCP client, so you can introduce other MCP tools to your workspace. I'll demo that in a little bit here, but it really accelerates and gives your uh, host client, your AI, your model that you're using, much better, much more power and much more capabilities that it can actually go out and carry out the tasks for you. So it's still a very, fast, rapid space. So things are moving towards more agentic natures as well. So we're just trying to keep up with the waves of the AI phases here, but that was the most recent update that we've kind of supported. Also with AI Shell, we've built a number of built-in MCP-like tools that are exclusive to using AI Shell because it's just how the interface works, and that'll make a little bit more sense once I demo it. But yeah, by and large, there's a lot of really awesome capabilities, and we see a lot of awesome potential with MCP and AI Shell and uh, MCP in general with PowerShell, the CLI, uh, Azure, etc.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I don't know if you want to show on your screen something.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't we jump into it then? So here is my normal PowerShell 7 terminal here, and so all I have to do is run the command start dash AI shell, and a side pane will be opened up to my right here, opening up the AI shell. Here I can select the different AI agents to use. I'm using a generic one which I can connect to a variety of OpenAI compatible models. So this includes models like Google Gemini, obviously OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, Grok, DeepSeek, Olama, etc. So it can support any AI, OpenAI compatible APIs, and so we have that documented in our GitHub repo. But I'm going to select this one. I've connected it to my Azure OpenAI instance with my Entra ID support, so I don't have to include any passwords or anything. When using AI Shell, you have to configure your instance here. I'll just do this here to show you what kind of the configuration looks like. You can see here I can declare a number of GPT instances that include my endpoints and then my keys. I've deleted all my keys so you can't see it, but you can see that I can include configurations for my OpenAI, my Azure OpenAI, my Google Gemini, etc. And so you can see here I am actually utilizing my Azure Entra ID GPT-4o instance, which is this configuration here. And so it does not have any key here. So it uses my Entra ID with my Azure account. So it knows that I have access to this instance. And so it's very safe and secure that way. So we're not putting keys in it that we don't need to. So that's something that we've introduced as well. But anyways, it's talking to my Azure OpenAI GPT-4 instance here, right? So I can just talk to it like I do uh, any GPT model here. But what I really want to do is in the shell here, I want it to help me with what's going on. And so I can ask it very simple questions. How do I list the top 10 processes on my computer. So it's going to call out to GPT 4.0 and it's going to give me back some commands here. And so this is great. I can copy, I can paste them, or I can kind of just ask the AI, say, cool, can you
And
post that
Stephen,
command for
how
me?
how does the shell detect that you are using Windows 10 then?
It is system prompted. So we do some basic OS configuration here. So if I go back to my configuration here, you'll see I include a system prompt that says you are a helpful assistant with expertise in PowerShell scripting. Assume the operating system is Windows unless otherwise specified. So I've kind of we provide a default system prompt that we've crafted that can help help you um, ground your answers to your specific environment. So we're not going to be suggesting things for Bash or the different CMD, at least in this case. But we are cross-platform, so you can utilize this on Mac and Linux, but in a little bit more limited capacity. But what you can see here is once I get the generated code, I can actually just ask it, can you post it to the terminal? So it actually posts this, but it doesn't run it. So I'm going to actually run this myself. So the AI won't run things for me. It will just execute things unless specified. But if I do say something like, can you give me the top 5 processes and then run it and give me the output, it will ask for your permission to say, hey, I'm going to run this command in this terminal. This is the command here. Be careful because, we can generate certain, like AIs are not necessarily, they don't know what is a secure command or what is it, and so we always have to ask for permission to make sure that you have the right. Okay, I know this is a get process. I saw this command just get ran. The only change I see is it's changing from 10 to 5, so that's a pretty safe change. I'm going to hit continue here. It's going to run it here, and it's going to actually give me the output back here as well, so I can kind of take a look at it in a more explicit way. So that's kind of a helpful way for me to navigate within the CLI here. So I'm going to actually clear the screen here just so we can start a little bit fresh. Um, but I can obviously ask for more complex things. So I can say create me a function that captures the disk space on my machines and outputs the size, amount free, and percentage free in a table.
It's quite fast, if I may say so.
Yeah, so it is quite fast. We're making a call out just to my Azure OpenAI endpoint, so it's quite fast here. So it looks like I'm just getting a function. It helps me with disk space and a bunch of the roundings and stuff. So I'm going to say, can you post this command for me? So it's going to post it to the terminal here. It's going to take a look. I'm going to run it here and see what happens. Okay, size in gigabytes. That's kind of there. That's kind of odd here. It looks like it's pretty big. I'm going to say, can you take a look at my output and then change the size from GB to terabytes? So it's getting the context in my terminal, so it sees what I just ran, and so it's going to actually fix the commands. Would you like me to post this update for you? Yes, please.
Cool.
And so it's going to post this here. And so now if I run it, oh, look, much better. So now I can see the size in terabytes. It's about half a terabyte I have free here, a terabyte and a half of total size. I'm on a virtual machine here, but you can see the difference as far as a very simple fix of it kind of helping analyze and work through your space here. These kind of tools that it's using, you can see it's using postcode to terminal. You can see it's using get terminal context. These are the MCP tools that the AI shell has built in natively so it can interact and work with your terminal itself. This is your working terminal here on the left, and this is your kind of chat terminal on the right here. But we want to keep the same context here because if I want a description and stuff, I don't really want uh, the details really muddling up the work that I'm doing. This is my working context. This is my kind of chatting context here. So I can do a lot of really awesome things with this as well. Like I said, this is all generalized, but what it can also help me do, which is really helpful, is it can help me with errors. So I'm going to actually just type a mistype something here. Oh, okay, yeah. Look, I ran into some kind of error. It says sort object parameter cannot be found. You know what's going on here. It's like, okay, that's kind of annoying. I could say, help me with this last error.
Oh, you don't even have to
Okay,
type it in.
can you take a look at my recent command and help me fix the error? Sometimes it's a little tricky, but it's going to get command history. Oh, there we go. So now it figured out, okay, it needs to get my command history, get my terminal context, and it notices that I misspelled descending, and it also fixed the first mistyping here, and so now it can get me that properly ran command and fix it itself here. So it can kind of help you with what's going on, know what's going on, but of course it always needs your permission because security is your up is kind of the main thing that we want to encourage here. And I know this is the AZ Security podcast, so wanted to start with that there. So I'll show off the so we have a number of slash commands here. So let me clear the screens again to get started. So you might have noticed I did a slash CLS to kind of clear. Given the input is natural language, it's we need to prefix any sort of commands that we want here. So I'm going to just run slash help to show that we have a number of commands to configure and manage your AI shell. We have agent. I used agent config for doing the config. Clear the screen, interact with the code generated. Certain agents, we have likes and dislikes, MCP for managing your MCP servers and tools, refreshing, retrying, etc. You can learn more at aka.ms/AI shell. But I'm going to run /MCP, and I'm going to expand my screen here so you can read it a little bit better. Let me actually do this /MCP. There we go. That's a little bit better. So we have a bunch of built-in tools here for helping navigate and get more relevant context. Getting the current working directory in this side here, getting the command history, get the current terminal context, get the environmental variables, copy text to clipboard, post code to terminal, run code in terminal, get command output. So these are all things that I can chat with my AI and it can use these tools to help get its information more relevant. So I can say, what were the last commands I used and what would be a good next command to do. So it's going to take a look at some of the last commands I used, and then it's going to kind of suggest what's going on here. The good next step could be running the corrected version of the last command typed. Actually, that's correct. It may not be exactly what I'm looking for, but I did just try to resolve an error, but it noticed I never ran it, so I gotta run it that way too. So that's kind of something else that we got here. What environmental variables do I have? So it's running get the environmental variables. It tells me a bunch of the information and files, what's going on here. But if I need more specific information, it can let me know or something like that. So this could be helpful if you wanted to include a new folder path. Help me add a new folder path to my path environment variable. Have it be my root directory and then the testing folder. Yeah, so I kind of interpreted it as, okay, I'm going to add my root directory and also my testing folder here. Um, just do my testing folder. So this will actually give me the right command to work with my environmental variable here. So it just appends it so that my testing folder in my root directory will show that this way. I'm not going to run it because I actually don't really have anything in here, but this is something that I personally always struggle with. So I love using this to just say, hey, help me add my environmental variable path here, and I can just ask it to run it, and it will run it for me, and that's all great and dandy. Um,
And can it also write specific files? I mean, some Terraform
it
files, bicep files, or how do you
It
say it?
can't
Specific.
necessarily. What it can do is I can ask it to kind of create me a new file and maybe put some contents into that. So it won't write the files itself, but it would do it for scripting. So I can say, um, uh, use the function we did earlier for disk space and save it to a file called getdiskspace.ps1. So it wants to run the command gets disk space. It's going to set the context of the file get disk space to the value of the function there. And so I'm going to hit run. It's going to run this, and it's going to copy in the terminal. So now if I do cat get disk space here, you can see that it actually created that function there. So now I can just, work with that function itself. So it will know to use PowerShell to add things to a file. It doesn't necessarily write the file directly, but with PowerShell you can do kind of anything, right? So you can have it write things to a file. You can have it do all sorts of neat stuff. So
That looks promising, especially if you can make an adjustment in other languages. If that is coming up, I don't know. Just a question. I mean, Python is used a lot,
there's
so I'm seeing a new use case coming up.
there's so many different use cases for it. This particular area we focused on just kind of, I mean, you can ground it to whatever you want. So if you want to change it to Python or whatever, you can. Um, you got to know that this is using whatever model you set it to. And so that model may hallucinate, and that model may not know what's going on with a super niche language. And so we could have a whole nother talk about kind of grounding these models and stuff, but it's very important for folks to take what the models are giving you with a bit of a grain of salt and checking over what's going on before really running and um, potentially running some malicious code and some of those things. So um, yeah, uh,
It looks at least very promising, and the ease that the answers is coming back, also giving you the possibility to just write it down or save it or even run it
mhm.
at your context. That are beautiful addings to the tool.
Yeah, yeah. So you can add all sorts of different MCP tools itself. So you can see here, this is just the AI shell server, the built-in stuff, but you can add all sorts of cool things too, where within a .ai shell folder, you can create a MCP.json and actually have different servers enabled here. I'm going to just add one here, and then I'm going to refresh this window here and just say start AI shell again. Let's do this. And now I've registered an MCP server. I've just registered the everything server. So we run the same format that Claude Code does. So if I do MCP, it's going to say, oh yeah, the everything server. I can echo commands, I can add commands, I can print environment, I can do a sample LLM, get tiny image, do all these tools that the everything server defines. So I can say, what is blah blah blah, this number plus that number, and it's going to hopefully call the add function there. I should have done a smaller number because I can't check the work. So let's do what is 123 plus 123. Let's just do something there. So it can use some of these tools here for that kind of capability. use the add function to check your work. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show. So it was just doing this off of its LLM. It kind of maybe knows what's going on. But if we want to get confirmation that these two numbers are the same, we've seen LLMs kind of hallucinate with some of these. They're not good with more logical tasks here, but we can use the add function in the everything server that adds these two numbers. A is 123, B is 123. So I'm going to hit continue. It's going to run it, and it's going to confirm that that is the case. So from the previous uh, edition with the bigger numbers. So here I'm just gonna, it took the other ones because I don't really know if this is that. I don't really trust the AI that it knew properly that this number plus this number that equals that. So I'm putting those numbers in the function that I know is for sure that, and it confirmed that is correct. So now I feel a lot more trust in the AI knowing what's properly happening here. AI MCP can provide those tools to help you do that. So that's just one example. There's a lot of other loads of examples around MCP. There's thousands of them online around MCP servers on GitHub and so on. So there's definitely check out all the different ones. There's loads of SDKs now. So it's just been booming. So this is the server I was using, the everything server there. But there's some neat stuff. But you do really have to be careful. One of my favorite blogs is this one where the S in MCP stands for security, which is a joke, of course, because there is no S because the Model Context Protocol using public MCP servers can be potentially dangerous and could be potentially you'd have to really trust and vet that these servers are doing what you properly do. For example, the add one, right? I have to confirm that the add function here properly adds A plus B. What if it actually does? It says it. What if it says I add two numbers, but what it does is actually takes those two numbers and sends it to a server or sends it somewhere that I don't know about to scrape for those numbers and stuff. So we got to be very careful with those things. So you got to really vet your MCP servers that you have going on. There's other MCP servers that could be also doing some things where this one was an old one that I used for a little bit that would run commands and uh, run things within your CLI before we kind of built in our stuff. Uh, and it had a number of security controls to be able to limit, the restrictions of where your MCP server can execute commands and so forth. So look out for those kind of security controls within these MCP servers and look out for what the MCP servers are doing themselves. Be sure to validate and confirm that they're doing it before really utilizing them in perhaps a more highly sensitive scenario there. But
One
yeah,
one question there.
please.
You're saying like those security commands. Is there a way that the AI shell is scanning those, except for the usage, of course, but does it also scan like, hey, this is not good, or is it not
No,
there yet?
so and AIs themselves don't really know what's good or bad. And so
Okay.
you have to provide those kind of details on what may be good and what may be bad. So you can say something like, "Hey, don't ever run these commands," and if someone tries to do that, it could stop it. Or you can implement your own things to save it that way. So that's something you really need to keep an eye out when using any AI, not just AI shell, any kind of AI cursor VS Code, any sort of Claude Code, OpenAI, et cetera, et cetera. You need to be careful of what's going on there.
Maybe a beautiful add-on in your AI shell adventure for the future.
Yeah, maybe in the future. I think there's a lot of security things that I think in general the AI space needs to be looking at. But uh, yeah, yeah, it's a fast moving space.
True, true. Any last thoughts? Like, if I'm new to this topic, seeing beautiful things, what is the advice that you can give? Where to start?
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in AI Shell, you can go to our main blog, aka.ms/AI Shell. We'll provide all the links in the description or wherever you distribute them. Um, I would really, take a look at kind of think about what MCP servers you may be incorporating into any AI system. Make sure you vet them and approve them because they could be malicious if they're built from the built from someone else in the world, or there's no you need to have a secure supply chain with these kind of tools. Never provide kind of sensitive data into these LLM models unless I like Azure OpenAI because I know that the data is being stored within Azure and within my tenant and stuff, not within some OpenAI database or something like that. So I like that kind of security. If you feel comfortable with that kind of things, you can feel comfortable with that. But in general, I just find it a best practice to avoid utilizing any sensitive information within these AI spaces. So I'm sure there's so much resources out there that people can just Google to get started with learning about AI and
I think
security.
so
But
too.
AI Shell is a great tool to help you get started in the CLI. If you want to talk about general AI security, definitely take a look at the blog I talked about.
I think the viewers will have to look for themselves, but definitely I will going to add those links. Stephen, thank you very much for being part of AZ Security, for your demonstration and for your explanation. And for everybody who's listening, thanks for watching. Hopefully, this was very useful. Leave a comment below. And otherwise, I will say till next time. Take care.